One second. Welcome into Rover Sports, the show. I'm sorry for the shock. That might have been my voice. We are up here today, and apparently it is now NFL scheduling season. Want to welcome everybody into the radio show this afternoon today. We are here, Rover Sports, live, ESPN, radio, Philadelphia, and basically the sun is shining in my face. The lighting in this room is not ideal, but we are going to truck on courageously, and I have several topics that I want to get to on today's show. Really happy to have everybody coming in live to hang out with us today. It's a beautiful day, and I'm really excited for some playoff basketball tonight. Last night we saw some other playoff basketball where the 76ers were involved. It was a very good game. I'm going to get to that. I'm going to see your YouTube and Periscope questions. We're live on those forums. So this is what it is all about, ladies and gentlemen. This is pretty much going to be the first of maybe 5 days a week of 60-minute broadcasts. And if you ever want to make it in this business, you have to do this eventually. So I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to definitely try to enjoy it. And you got to make practice harder than the actual games. And without further ado, I want to open it up, and I want to post a picture of Dave Gettlemen, because his press conference today, he had a press conference for the New York Giants, and I basically wanted to recap exactly what was being said at the press conference. I thought that it was a fantastic presser by Dave Gettlemen yesterday. And here he is. I have a picture of him in Carolina. He's not a Carolina guy, but I'm going to put the picture right here. It's me, and now it's Dave. So now you can see us, and the sun's not going to bother it as much either. So when you look at what Dave Gettlemen, when you look at what he said in his press conference, he said something that was very interesting. He said that he is not going to trade for any second-round pick. He is not going to trade for any 2019 future picks. He hasn't even looked at that draft, and he's not going to entertain trading for any future picks. This is unusual for a general manager to openly state that he's not going to trade for any 2019 first or second-round picks. So that makes it seem like the Buffalo Bills, they might be out of the ranks. Now, Gettlemen, whatever good general manager needs to do is that he even admitted this in his presser. He does not want people knowing exactly what he is going to do. So meaning that Dave Gettlemen said that he would take the Giants and that he'd rather have a report card of some A's, a couple of B's, an occasional C, rather than one A- and 3 C's. So Gettleman's basically saying that you can basically never have enough depth, and that Gettleman is talking about how the Giants should basically acquire as much talent as they possibly can throughout the draft, which makes sense. But also it would make sense for a Buffalo trade if Buffalo wanted to trade with the New York Giants, then Buffalo can offer you a lot of players and a lot for the first couple of picks in this year's draft then. What Gettleman said is that if you get a quarterback wrong, you're going to be screwed for the next 5 seasons. So that's basically Dave Gettleman saying that if I draft a quarterback and he's wrong, I'm screwed. He said that this quarterback class, there was a lot of different shapes and sizes that the quarterback class could come in for the season, meaning that in this draft there's a lot of different quarterbacks and different shapes and sizes and whatever and whatnot. So Gettleman's basically going out on a limb here. And I believe Gettleman's going to take Saquon Barkley when it's all said and done, because when you look at what Dave is talking about here, he likes the running backs, he likes the hog mollies, and his presser is really entertaining. It's about 30 minutes long. He's not shy at all. He brings a lot of entertainment to the presser. I think he does a sensational job, and really I'm comfortable in the Giants' direction under Dave Gettleman because he values culture, he values the media relations, and that is incredibly important to have a guy that values culture and values media relationships. So Dave Gettleman, again with a press conference today, I think it's going to be Saquon Barkley, and Dave Gettleman today came out in the presser, and he basically said that he wants a player that's going to elevate the room. He wants a player that's going to, make people around him better, obviously. So Gettleman's coming out. He's saying all the right things, doing the right things. I believe Gettleman is on the right track. Okay. Let's get to some juicy headlines. So the New York Giants and Odell and Dez Bryant have been working out. Dez Bryant's like a girl that is positioning herself really well to try to date a guy that she wants or something like that, or could go vice versa. Dez Bryant's doing everything he can to be a New York Football Giant, right? You got to give Dez a lot of credit. What Dez is doing here is he's positioning himself really well if he wants to be a New York Giant, because with Odell Beckham, with working out with Odell, he basically is positioning himself so that he can be the guy next year with Odell Beckham Jr. Now, I don't think Dave Gettleman's going to do it because Dave wants to eliminate distractions. He doesn't want Dez to be another distraction. He wants to build from the inside out, so he doesn't value the wide receiver position at all. Dave Gettleman. He values linemen. He values D tackles. He says you got to run the ball, you got to rush the passer, and you have to stuff the run. None of those things Dez Bryant's going to do. So do I look at Dez Bryant going to the New York Giants as a real possibility? I don't think so at all. I think it's all smoke. I think Dez Bryant has been known to divide locker rooms before. There's a lot more that comes with him. He doesn't make other players better. By this criterion, I think Dez Bryant is a lot more about his individual stats. I think Dez is all about the X and the brand and celebrating in the end zone. And I don't think that Dave Gettleman's going to put up with that stuff. I mean, Dave Gettleman wants to win games, but he also wants professional football players, not players who happen to play football. So by that criterion, I don't see this happening at all with Gettleman. He just cut Brandon Marshall. He is as cutthroat can be. Marshall failed the physical, and Gettleman, he said that he's not here to make friends. So I love what Gettleman's doing. He's tough as nails, and Davey G, man, tough as shit. So he's going to lead the Giants in the right direction. Dez working out with Odell, though, is a really good way to try to get involved into the Giants framework. Dez doing everything he can to be a New York Football Giant. If I were Dez Bryant advising him, I'd advise him to wait. I think it would be smarter if Dez Bryant continued to wait a long period of time so that he did not want to shoot his load early, meaning that Dez Bryant should not just sign with Baltimore. I believe if you sign with the Baltimore Ravens, you are screwed if you're Dez Bryant. So Dez, I'd stay patient, see if the Giants thing opens up. If not, continue to, field some offers around the league. Okay. We can do an NBA recap of last night. But what I really wanted to do here, I wanted to talk about some NFL lines. I love NFL lines. A lot of these lines were really interesting today. I'm going to tell you exactly what I would do on the NFL lines. I took a picture here on my phone of it. I'll probably be able to cover at least 10 minutes talking about the lines, and then you guys, of course, can ask some questions if you guys have any questions. So these are the lines. Philly, exactly like I thought, is favored by 3.5 versus Atlanta. That's exactly what I thought, because you look at Atlanta going into Philadelphia, it's going to be a Julio Jones revenge game. I mean, we don't know about the status of Alford, the cornerback from the Atlanta Falcons. Will Jay Ajayi be able to run the football against the Atlanta Falcons in that front? Maybe. I believe that did the Falcons re-sign? They have Grady Jarrett, that's a good player. They might have, I'm trying to think of, they have Dontari Poe. They have some pretty good defensive linemen, I believe, in Atlanta. Their linebacking core is not that good, though. And will Takk McKinley play more snaps? I mean, Takk McKinley, we all remember him with his grandma up there on stage, last year at the NFL draft, that huge portrait that he had to fly across the country. Will Takk McKinley actually get meaningful snaps, and will he make an impact on this defense? Atlanta's going to be hungry to win the game. Will Matt Ryan not play scared? Steve Sarkisian, I think, has been a colossal failure as an offensive coordinator, and anybody going out after Steve Sarkisian is going to suck. I mean, let's just call it how it is, okay? Steve Sarkisian, when you're replacing Kyle Shanahan, it's like a girl's coming in to a bar like after Brooklyn Decker just left. I mean, it is not going to be pretty. Point is that Steve Sarkisian, he's replacing one of the brightest minds in the NFL in Kyle Shanahan. He was put in a really difficult situation, but he sucks. He was an alcoholic. He was overrated at Alabama. A stupid hire. That was Lane Kiffin's offense at Alabama. He didn't have to do anything with that offense at Alabama. He did nothing there last year. He did one national championship game where Jalen Hurts was terrible. And then he gets hired as the Atlanta offensive coordinator. They go into Philadelphia. They barf all over themselves. If Philly doesn't fumble the football, they lose that game last year by double digits. Okay, Philadelphia gave Atlanta every opportunity to get in that football game. That's why I look at Matt Ryan. How many playoff games has Matt Ryan been good? How many? He choked against the Cardinals. He was terrible against the New York Giants. Against the Rams, he was okay. He wasn't dominant in that game. I mean, Matt Ryan's not a Hall of Famer. He had an opportunity to win a dang Super Bowl when he had Devontae Freeman, when he had Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu, Taylor Gabriel. Now Taylor Gabriel is gone. He's in Chicago right now. You think Mohamed Sanu's going to be better? Matt Ryan's a decent quarterback. He is not going on the road. I mean, I was wrong with Alex Smith. I did not think that Alex Smith could beat the Patriots last year. I was so wrong on that game. I mean, Kareem Hunt running for 400 yards, but look at that Patriots defense. That Patriots defense turned out to be dog crap. Nick Foles lit them up. Alex Smith lit them up. McCown lit them up. Ben Roethlisberger, you could talk about everybody. That Patriots defense was a product of how bad the AFC was. That Patriots team shouldn't have gotten to the Super Bowl. That's how corrupt the NFL is with the parity in this league. How did you like that little pump up? I guess when you get going, you get fired up sometimes when you have to talk for an hour by yourself with no producer and no commercials, I might add. 5 days a week, 1 hour shows. This is how you polish your wheel in this business. Okay. NFL lines. Again, when you get first off, when you get sidetracked in this business, and I'll answer your questions, when you get sidetracked, it's the greatest thing to happen because time goes by. You got to fill in the time. When you get sidetracked, time goes by. All right, so Philly, Atlanta. I'll take Philly in that game. Pittsburgh going to Cleveland. This is a game that I feel happens every single year. The Pittsburgh Steelers going to the Cleveland Browns. Last year was Greg Williams. There was actually some optimism for the Cleveland Browns last year with Deshaun Kaiser, Greg Williams. He's going to be doing Bountygate to Big Ben all over the damn field. Greg Williams I'm just going to say this. I don't know Greg Williams. His personality seems terrible. He seems like a nasty person, nasty human. He did the Bountygate. He just seems like a salty, nasty guy. He's from the Jeff Fisher tree, okay? But the point is that he can coach defensive football decently well, and he runs his guys into the damn ground. I mean, I watched that game where Odell got hurt for the Giants last year against the Cleveland Browns, okay? And Greg Williams is going to have these guys ready to play. This line is exactly what I thought. It's the exact same thing as last year. It's deja vu in Cleveland, Browntown, okay? Deja vu in Browntown, right? Try to say that. So basically, in this game right here, I am going to go with I'm going to take the Eagles in the first game, and I'm going to take Pittsburgh in the second game. I think Kaiser's better than anybody that they're going to trot out. So Tyrod Taylor's leash already getting smaller and smaller as we go along because he's going to lose his first game. He's going to be 0-1. The dog pound's going to be at his throat. If he beats Pittsburgh, then you're going to see some staying power. But let's see if David Njoku can play. I think the most overrated players so far in the NFL have been David Njoku and Jabril Peppers. Both of them haven't done jack, okay? They haven't done anything. These are just combine warriors that don't equate to what they're actually doing on the football field, okay? So I have the Steelers there. This line is the wildest line. Minnesota is favored by over 5 points, 4.5, to beat San Francisco on the road. That is absurd, okay? San Francisco, the hottest team in football. You're just breaking in a new quarterback. The game's in Minnesota. I know that there's going to be a lot of passion at that game in Minnesota. Point is, though, that line is ridiculously absurd, okay? San Francisco is covering that game. It's coming down to a 3-point game. It is not 4.5. That's a huge line, okay? Way too much. Way too rich for my taste. Indianapolis at Cincinnati, the Bengals are a better team. Colts are a train wreck. Andrew Luck isn't playing. Hammer the Bengals early and often, okay? The Bengals win that game outright. If Marvin Lewis can't win that game, I don't know. He probably will never end up getting fired anyway because they don't have the guts to fire Marvin Lewis there, period. They just don't. Oh, boy. Let's see if these videos have come through. They have, so I can talk about the NBA postseason schedule. I'm going to go here right now and seeing if any of you guys want to comment on these videos. I'm making a Niner video. I appreciate that. I did get a subscriber right now. Jabari's in the house. He's watching this thing. We are running live right now on YouTube. You guys can post your comments on Periscope, by the way. If you like what I have to say at all, please subscribe. The more subscribers, the more chance we actually get guests on this show. That's how this business works, period. Okay? So as we look here, and I'm probably going to do 40 minutes today, just the way that this show's kind of going. I think it's going decently well, but I'll probably have even more to say as we go along. We might even have guests. If we have guests, then we'll do an hour show. But when I do it by myself, I probably want to do about 40 minutes because when people do a 3-hour show, they usually have commercial breaks and stuff, you know, so it's not really 3 hours. When people say they talk 3 hours on the radio, they talk an hour and 15 minutes, and a lot of it is throwing it to producers. What do you think about this? I was out with my wife last night. The shrimp was undercooked. What should I have said to the waiter? Did you see the new movie of that yesterday? You have to be able to small talk, and that's why hopefully I'll get a producer so I can rattle off random topics with them, and we can continue to carry the ball and remain an entertaining product when we do have to do live shows, because you have to show versatility in this business. Okay, back to the damn lines, as the lighting in here is our horrible, horrible lighting. Baltimore versus Buffalo. If A.J. McCarron, that's my suicide lead pick. If A.J. McCarron can beat the Baltimore Ravens on the road, they should make a statue in him in Buffalo. There is no way that the Buffalo Bills are beating the Ravens on the road. Just zero. It's going to be the most boring game ever. It's going to be 17-10. A.J. McCarron's going to have third downs all game long that he's not going to convert. It is going to be a low-scoring, one of the most boring games you've ever seen with Joe Flacco at quarterback there. And the Ravens are going to score about between 24 at max, 20 points. The Bills are going to score 10 points. And AJ's going to show a little bit of flashes, but mostly do nothing. Brian Daboll's going to call the crappiest game plan in the world. It's going to be so conservative. Nobody's going to break out and have big plays. The Ravens are just going to stamp down on Buffalo, and it'll be a game that nobody in America watches and nobody talks about the following Monday. Okay. New Orleans, Tampa Bay. Now that's a game that's entertaining. New Orleans is a 7.5-point favorite. I like Tampa Bay here. Revenge game. Jameis Winston, another year with the head coach there, which is Dirk Cutter. They really came hot last year. You look at New Orleans, they don't start that well. They started poorly in Minnesota last year. They went to Minnesota, had New England, started 0-2. Jameis Winston's playing a lot better. O.J. Howard's going to have a breakout season. They're going to have a new running back there in Tampa Bay after the draft. I think that it's a very, very good opening line. I really like what I see from the Tampa Bay line, and I would take the Bucs there all day long. Jacksonville, a colossal 4-point favorite over the New York Giants. That is absolutely wild. Wild that they are a 4-point favorite, okay, against the Giants. Blake Bortles isn't scaring anybody. This Jacksonville defense is good. The Giants are not going to probably lose that game. The Giants are going to win outright. I'd go Giants money line. Giants are the better football team. They're going to be prepared. Everybody thinks Jacksonville's super legit because of last year. And Jacksonville benefited from playing Buffalo. They had one really impressive game. They do have a nice defense, I'll give them that. But they have no offense whatsoever. It's Leonard Fournette and a bunch of has-beens on the offensive side of the football. Okay, so the Giants will win that game. New England is a 7-point favorite over the Houston Texans. That is a pretty wild line if you ask me. New England, 7-point line. And you guys can comment. I'll look at your comments right now. New England is a 7-point line. 7 points over the Texans. That is pretty crazy if you ask me. That is an unbelievable line, okay? New England, there's no way they're beating the Texans by 7 points. Deshaun Watson, all this confusion with Tom Brady, that's a high line. That's a little too rich for my taste, okay? And then you have the Tennessee Titans playing the Miami Dolphins, okay? Titans are a 3-point favorite going to Miami. I guess I could see it. Mike Vrabel, first game there. That's going to be a weird game I'd stay away from. Chargers, Kansas City. Chargers get it's pretty much a pick 'em, and the Chargers get the 3 points. Kansas City's winning that game outright. Phil Rivers wants revenge, but Patty Mahomes, the first game. I cannot wait for the NFL season to start. Alrighty, guys, it's time now. I know some of you guys might tune out that like football, but now my NBA videos are ready. I'm going to take a more comfortable seat right now. I'm going to lay this microphone on its cord, and I'm going to talk basketball now for the next 10 minutes, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Cue the commercial. Here we go. Whew. Taking a nice little comfortable seat. All right, here we go. So I have these NBA highlight videos ready. I'm going to put them right in right after this. Just give me a moment, please. I hope you guys on Periscope are liking. You can subscribe to this show. It's going to be about 40 minutes. Try to do one just about every day. Here we go. So last night's game in the NBA, I'll tell you what, guys. That game last night was so wild. I cannot believe that Joel Embiid came back in that game and was effective as he was. I can't. I mean, Joel Embiid, the way he shoots from three-point land, I mean, it is so wild that this guy can meander around the floor like that and that he can shoot threes. He doesn't really have any post moves whatsoever. He has a couple of post moves, but he's mostly a spot-up jump shooter. He gets to the rim. He is a good dribbler. I mean, but he's just 7 feet tall, and he's just more athletic than people, and he plays such a quirky brand of basketball. It's hard to imagine that this team, can rely on Joel Embiid, Marco Bellinelli. I mean, I just have trouble seeing this team continue to play as well as they do, but every night they surprise me and they prove me dead wrong. I mean, it is unbelievable what the Sixers are doing. Are the Sixers the favorite now in the Eastern Conference? I actually think, though, Boston. Eric Spoelstra is a good coach, but Brad Stevens is a tremendous coach, and Brad Stevens is going to formulate a plan to guard Joel Embiid, and Brad Stevens might even have a better plan than Brett Brown. That's why I think that Celtics series is going to be a lot harder than a lot of Sixers fans would expect, and I'll tell you why. Because Brad Stevens is a tremendous coach, and I kind of want to see that series play out first, and I also think that you can't count the Heat out. The Heat were dumb yesterday. They played the game at a pace that the Sixers enjoyed. That's why the Sixers lit them up for 130 points. It wasn't a 20-point game. It was closer. Justice Winslow played well. Dwayne Wade played really poorly. But you look at yesterday's game, and you're going to see some of these highlights from Embiid. Embiid just adds a different dynamic to the Sixers. He gives them confidence. He's so tough. He's like a WWE character. He is great for the NBA. You need some flavor in the NBA, and that's why the 76ers, they are the flavor of the month in the NBA. And the question is going to be, a lot of people root against the Sixers because they don't want to admit that purposely losing basketball games wins you championships in the NBA. In no other sport does being awful win you championships. But in the NBA now, the Sixers have Ben Simmons, that's a top pick. They traded to the Kings for Dario Saric. Okay, they got the number 10 pick, and they give Hinkie credit. That was a tremendous pick. There were other guys around the 10 range, but Dario Saric at the number 10 pick is absolutely incredible value. I mean, this guy can shoot the three. He can get in the lane. He can Euro step. Marco Bellinelli, this is where I think coaching does matter. The way Marco Bellinelli is playing the game of basketball right now is at his peak of powers. Marco Bellinelli, I want to look up his career stats. I know he played for the Spurs. I know he's a quirky dude. But, and Jabari, and Marcus, thanks so much for that comment there. I definitely want to respond to ESPN's commentary, as for some reason this feed is a little bit blurry, and I can't really control that. But the bottom line is Marco Bellinelli has never been this type of dude, okay? Marco Bellinelli, he's putting up 19, 20 points a game. And when we look at his stats for his entire career, I'm looking at his stats right now. He's averaging 13 points for the Sixers this year, which is his highest. He'd averaged 12 before with the, I don't think it's Charlotte. But Marco Bellinelli in 2011 when he was with the New Orleans Hornets at 11. I mean, Bellinelli's playing his best basketball of his life. He could shoot off of any platform. He's a weird, quirky player. You have Ilyasova. Brett Brown just lets these guys run wild. He lets them take shot after shot, and there's no hesitation. And in this NBA, where everybody wants to push pace, you're going to get beat. Now, there was a question coming in about Anthony Davis. Is he the second best power forward of all time? He's a very talented player. He's one of the best defenders I think I've ever seen in my life. He can really shoot the rock from the outside. But you look at the success of Tim Duncan and the NBA, I do believe that the NBA is eventually somebody's going to get back to playing low post basketball. Will the NBA ever go back to playing low post basketball? Will that ever happen? Will we ever see bully ball? Will we ever see Memphis Grizzly basketball again? That's the question I have for some of you guys out there. Will we ever see the National Basketball Association go back to the basket sort of players? Will that ever happen? And it's a possibility that it might not ever happen. That the big, centers in this league, like the Zach Randolphs, the Jahlil Okafors, the Tim Duncans, that dominated basketball, even Shaquille O'Neal, they might be guys like Porzingis now that shoot threes. They might be like Giannis Antetokounmpo. They might have to lose weight and get out on shooters. But the bottom line is, for the Heat to win this series, they cannot do any fast break. They got to hold the basketball. This is what LeBron does a lot. When he beat the Warriors, he held the ball. The games were in the 80s and 90s, and it was low possession basketball. It's equivalent to running the football. It's equivalent to your friend in Madden taking kneel downs. That's how you play, and that's how you beat teams that control the game with pace. When you play the Sixers, you can't allow the Sixers to get out in transition. When you're shooting threes, and when Miami was playing fast, that's when the Sixers play fast. That's when you allow Embiid too many chances. You need to slow down the possessions if you want to win in the NBA against the Sixers, if you want to try to beat the Golden State Warriors. How did the Cavs beat the Warriors? LeBron held the basketball. He held on to it. He hogged the ball, and then with 5 seconds left, he went and drew a foul and went to the foul line, and the Warriors had to walk the ball up the court in the half-court setting. Will we ever see back-to-the-basket centers again? You know how we say sports are cyclical? Like a couple of years ago, how the NFL running back was extinct, like after Trent Richardson was picked and after all these busts were everywhere, like Sean Green's corpse was all over the field. Well, the thing is, in the NBA, will we ever see the NBA go back to the big man? Are NBA big men just going to be dead? Is Jahlil Okafor, if he's too slow, is he dead? Is Hassan Whiteside dead? Are these guys dead? Look at Nurkic and all these guys. It's all soft Euro bigs that can shoot threes. It's all stretch fours. There's no such thing as a traditional center anymore. And I want to see a traditional center come back in the NBA. I want to see that real bad. Because I feel bad for big 7-foot dudes that are fat. I do. I love seeing Boris Diaw go out and play basketball. I loved seeing Brandon Bass play basketball. I like seeing a lot of guys go out and play. So that's the question. Marcos, I hope you enjoyed that. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy, that kind of took a little bit out of me. I had a couple lung attacks today. One with the Atlanta Falcons and Steve Sarkisian getting on my goat. But now with the NBA big guys, because I love big fat guys lumbering around playing. I mean, it's fun to see Patrick Reed win the Masters. It's fun to see fat dudes doing stuff, all right? And it's annoying seeing ISO ball, seeing the Rockets so damn good, seeing D'Antoni just crystallized as one of these best coaches ever. And, of course, the lighting in here still sucks. All right. What I was going to say is Anthony Davis the second best power forward of all time? Kevin Garnett's really good. Dirk Nowitzki I saw on a list. Duncan's number one. Just the championships, all the accomplishments. Dirk has been amazing. All the years of him scoring points. Dirk Nowitzki is so high up that list that Dirk's got to be, for me, up there on that list, okay? So Dirk Nowitzki I'd probably put up there just in terms of guys I've seen. O'Neal's a center. Rasheed Wallace is good. Anthony Davis is a lot better than Sheed Wallace, even though Sheed can bang the threes. Al Harrington was good. Jermaine O'Neal was good. Listen, even Jermaine O'Neal has more accomplishments now than Anthony Davis, but nobody's taking Jermaine O'Neal over Anthony Davis. In terms of guys that already played the game, Giannis as a 4 is one of the best, and Anthony Davis, they're probably top 10 for talents. And we need Anthony Davis about 3 to 4 more years, and he's inside of that top 3 line. He's right up there with Dirk, with Kevin, and with Tim Duncan for guys that I've seen play the game. I don't know if Bill Russell's in that list, but he is one of the most talented guys that I have ever seen play basketball is Anthony Davis, because he can shoot the 3, he can play fast, he can bring you into the post, he can block shots, he's a two-way player, great personality, and that's the thing. He was in New Orleans a long time, and that team, is just now getting good. So he's had to deal with, a lot of coaches, and yes, Charles Barkley and Malone. That's a good one as well. The mailman, Malone of the Utah Jazz. Of course. I, for some reason, forget his first name. Karl Malone, the mailman, with that little post-up J. It's so nice. Stockton to Malone, and then Charles is so far ahead of Anthony Davis right now. You got to let this guy have some success in the playoffs. And, Charles was good on the Sixers, good on the Suns, and then with the Rockets late in his career. What I wanted to talk about, though, for some topics today, I already said earlier, if you missed part of the show where we got off to a decent start on the show, I talked about Dave Gettlemen. His presser, most entertaining general manager in football, hands down. He wants to draft hog mollies. I'm getting the read from him that it's going to take a lot for the Buffalo Bills to get him out of Saquon Barkley. I'm also getting the read from him that he's not interested in in Sam Darnold. I don't want Sam Darnold at all. I think Sam Darnold's going to be a huge bust, period, end of story. I don't think Odell's going to the Giants, or I don't think Dez is going to the Giants, even though he's trying really hard. I don't think Gettleman will pull the trigger on that. And then I did NFL lines. I think that the Vikings line was pretty crazy. I really think that the Vikings being favored by 5 over the Niners is showing blatant disrespect for the San Francisco 49ers. And when I look at it here. The Rams Oakland game is going to be great. I mean, that's the one game I'd want to go to in person, to see Chucky play, to see John Gruden play in his first game at the Coliseum, going back to the Black Hole, seeing Jared Goff go home to his family and friends that live in the Bay Area. It's going to be an incredible game. Sean McVay taking Ndamukong Suh and everybody to the Black Hole, one of the toughest places to play, where literally there's dirt patches on every blade of grass in that Coliseum. When I watch an August game in the Coliseum, it's amazing. I love watching preseason games there because you can tell the Athletics are playing there so much that it's almost completely dirt, and it literally looks like the Sandlot field, and for that, I love it. It's traditional football. It's absolutely wonderful there, and I believe that that's the one game that's going to be amazing. It's going to be on at 10:30 at night. We should get Chris Berman, take him out of Hawaii, get a private plane set up for him, give him pina coladas on the flight, get him lubed up with alcohol, and get Berman in there and put Sergio Dip down on the field and ask Sergio Dip to interview John Gruden for an hour. That's how I'd love to spend my Monday night after that. The Jets-Lions game, no offense to Jets Central, the Jets have no chance of winning that game. It was better a couple of years ago when we had Redskins. We had Redskins-Pittsburgh. Whatever early Monday night games that we have. Minnesota Saints. I love the 2 Monday night schedule. Would you guys like 2 games of Monday Night Football? Maybe. Hey, Pigskin. How are you, buddy? Piggy's going to help me out. Piggy, we got to get to 40, bro. We got to get to 40 minutes on this show, Piggy. So trying to do Uncle Lou here. Uncle Lou does an hour all by himself. I know he has callers. I might have to get in callers, too. I mean, what Uncle Lou does, he does 2 full hours of sports, okay? He does 2 hours, and then he talks for 3 hours playing video games. The guy is a machine. The Sports Fury, machines. I'm not a machine yet. I need to get caffeinated up. I need to get maybe even liquored up. I know my dad's not going to like hearing that on the live stream again. But the point is, it's hard to go 40 minutes. And then I got to try to live an interesting enough life that I could say, this weekend I was out at the bar, and you're not going to believe what happened to me this weekend. And we'll talk about that for 15 minutes on our show. We could talk about NBA playoffs, even though a lot of guys like football. And who knows if the thing is blurry or not. Maybe guys on Periscope. We'll see what's going on there on the scope. Let me go to the Periscope for a second. First, I want to give some NBA lines tonight. I believe that the Pacers are going to win Game 3 tonight. I think it's great. You got to tire out LeBron James. Period. End of story. Tire him out. Nick Foles is trending. Why is Foles trending? Congratulations, Nicholas Foles. Congrats. Yeah, Marcos, I might have to do that, man. I might have to do that. Sunday at 1 is your favorite hour. I like Sunday at 4 o'clock. But Nick Foles has re-signed a deal. This is breaking news. Marcos, I think you're an Eagles guy. Eagles have re-signed Nick Foles, reworking the contract. So they could still trade him, but it's great for Nick. Nick is probably going to be starting a couple of games, okay? And if we look at the Eagles' schedule here, we could do that. We could do that on the show. Where is Nick Foles going to be playing for the Eagles to start off the season? And I'll do NBA lines, and then I think I'm going to head out of here. So the Philadelphia Eagles, where Nick Foles is going to be going, I believe, could Nick Foles beat the Falcons? Maybe not. That might even be harder now. I went off on Matt Ryan earlier in today's show. You guys can go back and watch that. But, first game and then Nick going to Tampa Bay, that could be a little tight. So maybe the Eagles are 2-1 because they beat the Colts. Then they're 2-2. I believe the Titans will get Nick Foles. And then Carson Wentz will come back before the Vikings, or is that a short week? No, that's a primetime game. Carson Wentz will come back in week 5. The Eagles will be 2-2 to start the season. I'm comfortable saying that, okay? Comfortable saying that. Let's see how much minutes we got on our show. We are officially at 40 minutes. Thank you guys so much for help doing the show. I couldn't do it without you guys, or I would do it in a much worse way. And I'm going to give tonight's NBA picks. I believe that the Pacers will win tonight's game. Pacers over the Cavs. Subscribe to my show. Pacers are winning tonight. Oladipo, too much, going home to Naptown. Crowd will be crazy. Oladipo wins tonight. And then I'm going to go and let's see what other NBA games are on tonight. I believe if it's the Spurs, Celtics Bucks, I'll take the Celtics, whatever the number is. I'll take the Celtics tonight, 3-0 lead. And then we have all early games, so no late games tonight. I like how that game in Wisconsin tips off late. And then Raptors and Wizards, I'm also going to go Raptors. One of these teams has to win. I'll probably go Bucks, and then I'll actually go Raptors. So I'm more confident in the Raptors than I am the Celtics, going to win Game 3 on the road. When we look at the Bovada lines for these games, if I just had to guess, I'm going to guess. Well, I saw that the Cavs are a -1 favorite. If I'm going to look at the Bucks, I believe the Bucks are 5-point favorites, and the Wizards are going to be 4. So let's see what we have here in the NBA tonight. I'm going to tell you the lines right now for tonight's matchups here in the NBA. So, oh my God, it's a pick'em. That is dangerous if you're the Washington Wizards. And the Bucks are only -4.5. but that basically is saying that the Raptors can win this game outright. That is wild. Philly's a 3-point favorite on Saturday. You might want to take Philly. They might win again. The over-under is 215, which is really high. So you might want to go under because Spoelstra's going to make adjustments there. Portland and New Orleans. New Orleans, they better close it out. I don't want New Orleans to choke. I want New Orleans to finish this deal off. I love how the Pelicans are playing. And then Houston is a 5-point favorite. So Vegas says it's going to be a sweep in that series. Alrighty, guys. Thanks for hanging in. Appreciate y'all chilling. Have a good day. Have a wonderful day. Take care.